Greetings, y'all. How y'all doing again? This is part two of what is a traditional man. And yes, some more thoughts came to me, so I'm over here again. So again, welcome. And again, you can give yourself a hug and a kiss again. Share it out to everybody in the audience, digital world, our planet, for those who want to receive it and share some my way. So yeah, this is July 27th, 2026 on this Gregorian calendar. And I just have a few more things for wonderful men who look like me. And just some more questions about what is a traditional man. This is not going to be as long as part one. So now, and this is for the men who are ringing the alarm bell, like it's a great emergency about, because they feel like their prized property has gotten away. And I gotta say it that way because traditional men, the way I see it, and the way I saw my grandmother growing up, and other grandmothers growing up, and my mom, they were looked at as property. Now, who else saw us as property to this day? So the question I like to ask you men, who are ringing this alarm bell, and I like to know if y'all talk to two traditional men. And do you see yourself as a traditional man? Because y'all bringing up, some of y'all, like I said, talk them out. Women ain't traditional no more in these mornings, daytimes. But I want to speak on something because the men who are married to traditional women, the questions I have is, did y'all love her when you asked her to marry you? Were you attracted to her? Was she feminine? Was she the girl of your dreams for some of you? Because I have to ask that question. And the biggest one is, was she a good woman? Was she a good woman? You know? Because y'all, a lot of men are saying they can't find any good women today. Okay. And a lot of men get married, because they say, some of y'all say, we're ringing the sound bell, this alarm, that women have to be put in their place. Again, I say, who else said to us that we have to be put in our place? So how does that sound? Does that sound like a slave master relationship rather than a partnership? The equally yoking, the ones who talking about just equally yoking. Does that sound like that? Does that sound like something else? Because surely no one, including you men, that didn't and don't like to be told by anybody else to stay in your place. Am I right? So we need to unravel these things and really examine them when we say things or repeat things that were passed down. And a lot of men, traditional men who got married, looked at women as to be something who was an extension of them. Something who was supposed to represent them at all times in the best way possible. But yet, when y'all took them vows, in front of y'all God, to yourselves and to your wives. Will you be the best representation or the best presentation of yourself? Because you broke a lot of them things, right? You broke it to God, to yourself, and to your wives, right? A lot of y'all men who talk about traditional wives, think it back to your mamas and your grandmamas and your great grandmamas. And go back that far, and then some mamas still are still here today. Have you talked to them? Have you spoke to them and asked them how it was to be married? Did you ask them if they felt valued and appreciated? Did you ask them if they felt honored by the person who vowed to love them, protect them, and to be faithful to them? Have you spoken to them, these women? For those of you who still have moms that are still here, or grandparents that are still, grandmothers that are still here, or great that are still here, even some of your aunts, your aunties. I mean, don't you think that's a fair question? Because if you want a woman to honor you with the vows you took, the question I would also ask is, did you mean them vows? Or were you marrying the woman for other reasons? Were you marrying her to honor her, love her, serve her, or were you marrying her for her to serve you? Because what did the Bible say that a lot of men fall into the trap of? God gave a woman to man, like as if she's some present or some inanimate object to be handed over without any kind of self-autonomy of her own, without any kind of thinking and feelings of her own. Like, and then some of you are the same men who don't want that for your daughters. You detach it, or you make it fit where you want to fit when it comes to you and some of your daughters. You don't want her to have that same narrative of, being a doormat for a man who don't appreciate her, who don't love her, and most importantly, don't respect her. So you see, when she's supposed to be the best representation of you, you're supposed to be the same for her at all times. Is that, let me know if I'm overstepping, if I'm overreaching something that I'm not understanding. I'm just trying to get some clearance, some clearer clarity here about what a traditional man is. Do you see yourself as a traditional man? Do you know what a traditional man is? And in these modern day times of how things have changed from so many hundreds of years ago, why would you expect that of a woman? When you have broken every vow to her and to yourself and to your God. Until we can answer some of those questions, I think we need not demand a traditional woman until y'all go and do some more, examining of yourselves and why you have these thoughts. I mean, is it your own thoughts, or they were like given to you and you can't see past? Your understanding is not. Is it just locked up? Because you remember, I always say this: you men say you're the logical ones, and how does this logically look? Anyhow, yeah, I just had to come back in there Oh man. Because if you had a good woman, she was attractive, she was feminine, she did everything you wanted her to do. And this is only for the men. I'm not talking about the men who value their women and value their wives or value women, period. I'm not talking about, this is not for y'all. This is for the ones who are upset and angry when women have seen their mothers suffer, their aunts, their grandmothers suffer under the hands of men who claim they love them and love God and abuse their authority. They let them lead. They let them lead because they want to be a good representation of their man, of their spouse. They don't want to make them look bad. But the men did not have that same respect, again, for themselves or their spouses. It's been a one-way street, gentlemen. And a woman is saying, this is not love. This is not respect. This is not honor. This is not devotion. This is abuse of power and authority. And a lot of us women, including me, do not want to be under that tutelage or that rule. Or subject our children to it. So maybe this brings some kind of clarity of where I'm coming from, and you know, you can understand. Once again, I welcome clarity of the men who are ringing this alarm bell. Sound the alarm. Emergency, emergency. We've lost our property. They you know, they moving back. So, women would love to be in healthy, equal relationships. Same thing y'all say y'all want. She wants respect, honor, love, working together, communicating together, sharing thoughts. And each one of her, you could take turn leading, because you know what? She's a grown woman. She's an adult. Why does she have to be led? And this is just me speaking. This part is me. Why do I have to be led when I have my own thoughts? I was born with my own thoughts. I was created with my own thoughts, my own ideas. Why must I now say, you know what? No, forget what you were born with, what God gave you, the Creator gave you, the Source gave you. Turn your brain off and just let the man run it. Let him think for you. It's not fair, and y'all wouldn't want to be treated that way. So, with that said, I had to come in for a part 2. You're free to be respectful with your comments, because as I always say, I'm not here to insult, to damage, harm anyone. I'm here just want some clarity and perspective on, and letting you know why a lot of women who saw the misery that their elders went through do not want to go through that. And maybe that may bring y'all some clarity and understanding as to why. Whether you accept it or not, that's up to you. But you need some more internal reflecting on why you think the way you think and why you think someone belongs to you. And with that said, thank you for keeping me company, and I'll talk with y'all next time.